嬉しくて速攻採用は決めたけど、そこで試行終わっちった。犬か。
Hey, at least she provides better Yuri than the Papillon.
よっしゃー、大気上に集合。
Continuing right from last week, Aoyuki was forced to face the reality that she had dug herself down deeper the meme hole, with whole fan channels talking about her.
新しい黒歴史を生み出すことがほぼ確定しているという悪魔の誘惑。
Girl, as far as beer controversies are concerned, you're on the bottom of the totem pole. Anyway, before her big collab with her fellow VTubers, her next stream actually featured her character model's designer, Masho Irodori, aka Mashiron. And yeah, if you think her deadpan deliveries to an insanely thirsty Yuri girl sound familiar, well, just give her some blue hair. Yep, her VA also did Ryo Yamada from Bocchi the Rock. Granted, here, she was at least the responsible one between the two, acting as sort of the mother of Aoyuki who tried to regulate her drinking habits.
千ゼロがシュワシュワだからシュワちゃん。これからこのモードの君はシュワちゃんというか、どっかで聞いたことある気がするけど。
Yeah, it almost sounds like you should be a robot from the future. For context, Shua-chan is in fact Arnold Schwarzenegger's nickname in Japan. So, yeah, obviously, she was pointing out how manly this little princess was, and interestingly enough, Arnold has admitted that he was quite the drinker back in his day too. On that note, we got a little bit more of Aoyuki's backstory, with her having been a former office worker whose alcoholism went into overdrive after she left her old job. Understandably, Masho did want to convince her to let up on the drinking, and maybe even occasionally go back to her original proper princess persona.
にシラフ配信してね。ほーい。計画通り。
You know, I really want to put this manga away, but y'all keep making me have to take it out. And after answering a few more fan questions, including one that led to Aoyuki doing the typical VTuber scream that somehow didn't break the mic, which was probably the most unrealistic part about the show so far, we learned a little bit more about her specific drinking preferences, in that she was the type to stick to just one and only brand. Personally, I just go with whatever is on sale.
千ゼロ終わるなら何にしますか？レッドブル？スター？違う味のガチゼロ。
I think a better question would be, who would want to drink just pure sugar? They were also asked about how they felt about the fallout from the live stream that started all of this, to which, heartwarmingly enough, Masho did want to continue to support her friend slash Dadoru with her rising popularity, and yet the VTuber herself was still feeling a little apprehensive. This might have been symbolized in this one shot where we could clearly see Aoyuki and her reflection not matching up. The latter of which was drinking, which might represent her fear of how that might end up being the only image associated with her from here on out. Granted, she wasn't exactly deterring anyone from that perception. This is what's gonna happen to Kokoa after Chino finally dumps her, isn't it? At the end of the stream, Masho revealed her new design for Aoyuki that we've already kind of seen in the opening to better represent her alcoholic persona, and at first, the VTuber was happy with it, even doing the Shin-chan laugh again. However, after sobering up, her concerns about that completely becoming her persona resurfaced while talking things out with her manager. But no time to think about that, as we finally got to see the other VTubers she was going to work with, Sei and Shion. Interestingly enough, the former was voiced by a common contributor to Mei Yuri properties, Yu Kobayashi, be it as one half of an official couple with Setsuda from Negima, Katsuragi from Senran Kagura, or even a little more adjacent like in Maria Holic, where she wasn't really a Yuri girl. But yeah, her deeper voice tends to land her roles as the assertive top, which she quickly displayed once they started the stream at a karaoke bar. As sure enough, she didn't waste any time and started hitting on her co-hosts. And she did this by first already getting Aoyuki drunk, before moving on to Shion, who she outright described as her type.
ユリっていうのは誰にも邪魔されず自由で救われてないといけないんですよ。
Again, something that the current Precure season could take note of after they stopped pushing the Neanderthal Precure. Of course, this brought up talks about threesomes, which, just leave that up to the Dojishin authors. Then, after a few more questions, and Sei unleashing all of her semeis, the three sang some karaoke that we unfortunately didn't get to hear, but it was kind of made up for with the ending credits where Sei and Aoyuki sung a duet. A nice touch, as it is always appreciated when a show constantly changes up their ending themes. And as long as the Yu Kobayashi character doesn't sing about luchadors, then we'll be great. I don't know what scares me more, her singing or her drawings. Afterwards, they foreshadowed a future VTuber for this show named Haru, which in turn got Aoyuki to reflect on how she got into VTubing in the first place, which of course came as a fallout of her former life as an office worker. Though interestingly, unlike the previous flashback where she saw herself as an OL version of Aoyuki, this time she could only see herself as another one of the literal faceless mob characters who we could often see in the background. Again, it's great visual storytelling to get across the feelings of dissociation that prevented her from seeing herself and VTubers as anything else other than their online personas. For the woman with the handle name of Aoyuki, she saw herself as nothing special until she was inspired by VTubers who gave her a new purpose and hope in life. Again, you really want to think a show like this would have such great direction and storytelling, but there you go. Anyway, after promising Mashiron that she'd do at least one pure and sober stream, Aoyuki did her next stream as her princess self, where she played oh dear god no. So last time, I was informed that the sausage fighting game was actually a real thing, which kind of surprised me. But I know for a fact that this thing is for real, as I've seen a lot of Let's Players have quite the little experience with it. Needless to say, getting over it is a prime example of a rage game, as not only does it have incredibly unforgiving controls and physics, as well as a ton of pitfalls that lead players right back to near the start of the game, it also has an incredibly obnoxious and pretentious narration by the creator Bennett Foddy.
Abraham Lincoln.
Shut up, Abraham Lincoln! I hate you so much!
Thus, and while Japanese Let's Players could at least get around the narration by just not understanding him, rage is the universal language, which left Aoyuki ending the episode reverting back to her Shuo-chan persona, specifically this version. Yeah, I think I really like this episode, maybe even more than the first. I think it's mostly because they managed to deliver everything that I was expecting, including introducing more quirky VTubers and further fleshing out Aoyuki. And of course, providing some hilarious and memeable comedy is definitely to my taste. It seems like as we go further into the series, we're going to learn more about our main lead and her motivations and past. As a result, we do get a good sense of a person who's stuck in multiple downward spirals. Between her alcoholism and becoming a meme and a bit of a locale, she seems to be trapped in patterns that would lead to the outright downfall of many, and yet so far at least, Aoyuki has risen above it. Yes, she still has to figure a lot of things out to prevent a total disaster meltdown on stream, but with her friends and co-workers backing her, she is able to find some proper avenues where she can be mostly herself in probably much healthier ways than when she was a minimum wage salary worker. For her, VTubing, or rather content creation in general, is probably the best outlet for her as it allows for a lot more freedom and creativity that she always craved. It's an engaging tale for anyone who can relate with someone who feels constricted in their mundane lives. Of course, it also helped that her fellow VTubers were a lot of fun too. Mashiron is an entertaining straight man to Aoyuki's rants, and Sei is just awesome between her great pickups and, of course, design. And while Sion still needs a little more development, her back and forth with Sei was cute, and I'll look forward to seeing more between these two. And overall, this is just a great follow-up to the strong first episode of this hilarious, and yet at times surprisingly deep slice of life. Whatever version of Aoyuki we get, one thing is for sure, she should probably lay off the rage games.
Knock on my door! Knock next time! Yes, sir. Did you see anything? No, sir. I didn't see you playing with your dolls again. Good!
終わりました。
ふむ。もう一度。
Ah, come on. This is just such an unrealistic depiction of magical girl fan, I can't even finish that sentence.
穴が開いた服を作ろうのは得意なんです。
But aren't they the ones you made personally?
幸福とはガラスのように脆いものだと。
希望のない魔法少女だな。
Insert Madoka Magica joke here. Come on, can we just lay up on the narrative that show somehow ruined the genre? Oh, I see my whole Aqua Season 2 came early. Honestly, I think this is a lot funnier than the first episode. Granted, it might have been because there was a little less amazing Sakuga action, but I also really liked how they incorporated more of Byakuya's excessively stressful life, as she is unknowingly being exploited by almost everyone around her. It's great dark comedy that of course complements a little bit of ecchi comedy, which is always my favorite combo. They are still kind of overdoing the joke with Mira simping hard for her, but at the same time, they are at least building the relationship to something somewhat wholesome and cute. It's still really solid and fun quick little watch, but again, I do hope that the other evil generals start showing up soon. Thanks for watching technically our first proper review for this show, after we kind of struggled to figure out a proper schedule for the season of anime. Come on, it would be nice if we could figure out our scheduling a little better, but between my wishy-washy nature and complicated anime schedules, I don't think we can make any promises. Still, do look forward to whatever comes next. Until then, though, farewell for now, my friends, and
Fun!
yeah, just keep at it, Mark. You'll get there eventually. Don't worry, dude.